5 minutes ago. The door to the United Kingdom didn't just close for Meghan Markle. It was slammed, bolted, and welded shut by the one royal you simply do not mess with, the Princess Royal Anne. Sources confirm that a delusional list of demands sent from Montecito, what insiders are calling the Hyatt ultimatum, has been met with a reaction that has shaken the walls of Buckingham Palace. Let's be clear, it wasn't a negotiation. It was a hostage list. Meghan didn't just ask for a suite. She demanded 4 entire floors of the Hyatt Hotel in Birmingham be completely shut down for her exclusive use. She demanded bulletproof glass to separate her from the very veterans she claims to support. Most shockingly, she demanded that British working-class staff be strictly forbidden from looking her in the eye. She wanted a fortress. She wanted a rival court. But she forgot one critical detail. The person holding the veto pen isn't the soft-hearted King Charles. It is his sister, the gold stick in waiting. And insiders report that Princess Anne looked at this audacity and issued a permanent ban in all but name. The message sent back to California was brutal and clear. We don't want you here. Today, we are exposing the insane document that finally broke the monarchy's patience. Meghan thought she was setting a security trap. Instead, she walked straight into a buzzsaw of royal protocol. Do not click away. By the end of this video, we will reveal the Gatcombe verdict, the moment Princess Anne reportedly trashed these diva demands forever, and why this rejection signals the total collapse of the Sussex brand. Buckle up. The verdict is in. To understand why Princess Anne reportedly threw this document in the trash, we have to look at the sheer scale of the audacity. We are calling this the Hyatt ultimatum. According to explosive revelations, Meghan Markle is not planning a humble return to support wounded veterans. She is planning a hostile takeover. Insiders reveal that for her potential trip to the Invictus Games in Birmingham, she has demanded 4 floors of the Hyatt Hotel completely shut down just for her. Let's pause and consider the arrogance of that request. We are talking about a commercial hotel in a busy city center. She expects paying guests, families, business travelers, perhaps even the very veterans attending the games to be displaced or barred so she can have a vacuum-sealed bubble of privacy. Even legitimate heads of state often settle for a presidential suite and a secure wing. But for the Duchess of Sussex, a suite is not enough. She wants a fortress. She is asking for bulletproof glass at the games and armed security everywhere she goes. This isn't just about safety. It is about status. It is about projecting an image that she is the most important person in the room, the city, and the country. Alongside the hotel lockdown, the list reportedly includes a fleet of luxury cars and 24/7 drivers to ferry her around like a visiting empress. She demands a police escort from the airport straight to the hotel, ensuring she never has to sit in traffic like a normal citizen. Now, contrast this Hollywood delusion with the reality of the woman reviewing the file, the Princess Royal. Just last week, Princess Anne was spotted boarding a commercial flight to Scotland. There was no private jet. There was no fleet of luxury cars. She walked across the tarmac, carrying her own overnight bag, dressed in the same coat she has worn for a decade. Sources say Anne has been known to stay in Premier Inn hotels that cost £85 a night to save taxpayer money. She is the hardest-working member of the royal family, attending over 400 engagements a year, often with nothing more than a single security officer and a relentless sense of duty. So, imagine the scene in St. James's Palace when Anne read Meghan's demand for 4 separate rooms for her PR staff alone. 4 rooms just for the spin doctors to manage her image, while Anne is out there actually doing the work. Meghan is reportedly flying in her own chef, assistant, hair and makeup team, implying that British food and British stylists are not up to her standards. It is, quite frankly, highway robbery. She wants the perks of being a senior working royal, the security, the palaces, the deference without doing a single day of the actual work. For Princess Anne, who views royalty as a service, not a celebrity status, this list wasn't just expensive, it was offensive. It represents everything the modern monarchy is trying to move away from: waste, excess, and ego. But if you think demanding 4 floors of a hotel is bad, wait until you hear the rule she reportedly tries to impose on the human beings who have to serve her. It is a demand so dehumanizing, so diva, that it makes the bulletproof glass look reasonable, and it was the final nail in the coffin for her return. If the demand for bulletproof glass paints Meghan as paranoid, the demand regarding the human beings who serve her paints a much darker picture of her character. We have arrived at what palace insiders are calling the Ghost Protocol. According to the leaked conditions, locking down 4 floors wasn't enough to satisfy the Duchess's need for control. She reportedly wants to control where people look. Insiders reveal a draconian instruction given to venue staff. Staff aren't allowed to look at her. Let that sink in for a moment. We are talking about bellboys, cleaners, waiters, working-class men and women who are just trying to do their jobs. And they are reportedly being told that they are not worthy of making eye contact with the Duchess of Sussex. It suggests that she views herself as a deity and the staff as peasants who must avert their gaze. For an audience in America, where we value a firm handshake and looking someone in the eye as a sign of respect, this is the ultimate insult. It strips the worker of their dignity. It says, "I am so far above you that you do not exist in my world." Now, let's look at this through the eyes of Princess Anne. Anne is famous for her no-nonsense approach. She doesn't just cut ribbons, she gets her hands dirty. There are countless stories of Anne eating sandwiches with her security detail, chatting about horses with stable hands, and treating farmers with the same respect she treats presidents. To Anne, royalty is about connection, not separation. So, when she read that Meghan demands staff to be invisible, sources say her reaction was one of pure disgust. Anne reportedly referred to this as the Marie Antoinette syndrome, a delusion where one believes they are entitled to worship simply because they married a prince. For Anne, who has spent 50 years serving the public, treating staff like furniture isn't royal behavior, it is bad manners. And in Anne's world, bad manners are unforgivable. But the diva demands don't stop at eye contact. They extend to how she must be addressed. Despite quitting the royal family, despite trashing the institution on Netflix as racist and oppressive, and despite claiming she wanted freedom from titles, the demand list is explicit. Another insider adds that anyone who has any interaction with her has to call her Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex. No exceptions. No exceptions. That means if a maid knocks on the door to bring fresh towels, she cannot say, "Here are your towels, ma'am." She must recite the full royal title. This exposes the lie at the heart of the Sussex brand. Meghan hates the protocol when it restricts her behavior, like curtsying to the Queen, but she seemingly loves the protocol when she can use it to belittle others. You cannot preach about equality, compassion, and community on a podcast, and then walk through a hotel demanding that the help stare at the floor and call you Your Highness. We saw this mentality on display before. Remember the reports from her time in New York, where she stayed in a borrowed townhouse? Even there, in the middle of a republic, the poor cleaner had to announce her as Her Royal Highness every time she entered a room, even when there was only one other person in the house. Imagine the scene. A cleaner forced to act like a royal herald in a private living room just to feed Meghan's ego. It creates an atmosphere of fear, not respect. And for Princess Anne, this was the line in the sand. The British public, who value their dignity and detest snobbery, would never tolerate this behavior. Anne knows that if Meghan were allowed to enact this ghost protocol at the Invictus Games, an event celebrating veterans who sacrificed everything for freedom, it would be a PR disaster of nuclear proportions. The veterans didn't fight for a duchess who treats the working class like serfs. Meghan thinks these rules make her look regal. In reality, they make her look insecure. Only someone who is truly terrified of being irrelevant demands to be announced like a queen every time they enter a room. But as offensive as these demands are, Princess Anne suspects there is a darker strategy at play. What if Meghan knows these demands are impossible? What if she wants the palace to say no? We are about to uncover the most Machiavellian part of this dossier. It's not just a wish list. It's a trap. As we analyze these demands, the bulletproof glass, the hotel lockdown, the invisible staff, it is easy to simply label Meghan as a diva or paranoid. But Princess Anne, a woman who has navigated the treacherous waters of royal politics for 7 decades, suspects there is something far more Machiavellian at play here. Insiders believe that this dossier isn't a wish list. It is a weapon. We call it the security trap. Think about it logically. Meghan Markle is a smart woman. She knows how the world works. She knows that the British government is battling a cost-of-living crisis. She knows that the Metropolitan Police have strictly stated that security is not for hire. She knows, without a shadow of a doubt, that demanding the lockdown of a major city hotel like the Hyatt for a non-working royal is politically impossible. So, why ask for it? Why submit a list that you know will be rejected? The answer is chillingly simple. She wants them to say no. Princess Anne reportedly sees right through this. By setting the bar for her return impossibly high, Meghan creates a perfect win-win scenario for her narrative and a lose-lose for the royal family. If the palace somehow agrees to these insane demands, she returns to the UK as a conqueror, proving she is more powerful than the institution. But if the palace refuses, which she knows they must, she gets to play her favorite card, the victim. She is arguably engineering a rejection, so she can go on television, perhaps another tearful segment on CBS, and say, "I wanted to go back. I wanted to support the veterans. But the firm refused to keep me safe." It is the ultimate gaslighting tactic. She takes the consequences of her own unreasonable behavior and twists them to make the royal family look like the villains who left a mother and her children unprotected. Before we reveal the real reason Meghan is terrified of returning, and it has nothing to do with terrorists, I want to take a brief moment to check in on you, our loyal community. In a world full of noise and strategy, I truly hope that you and your loved ones are safe, in good health, and finding peace in your own sanctuaries today. We are building a global family here at Legacy's Edge, and I am always humbled by your presence. I would be honored to know where you are joining us from. Are you watching from the historic streets of London, the sunny coasts of California, or perhaps somewhere quiet in the countryside? Please, formally state your city and country in the comments below. It is a privilege to connect with you. Now, let's strip away the safety excuse and look at the brutal truth behind the trap. Why does Meghan really want an excuse to stay away from the UK? Princess Anne knows the truth. It isn't because she is afraid of a lone attacker. She is afraid of the British public. Meghan remembers the Platinum Jubilee. She remembers walking down the steps of St. Paul's Cathedral. She remembers the sound that no amount of PR money can silence. The booing. To a narcissist who thrives on adoration, that sound was a psychological injury. She knows that if she returns for the Invictus Games in 2027 without a fortress of separation, she will face that reality again. She cannot control the crowd, she cannot script the public reaction, and that terrifies her. So, the security trap is her shield. By demanding bulletproof glass and private wings, she ensures she never has to hear a single boo. And if she doesn't get it, she stays in Montecito, safe in her mansion, claiming she was forced into exile. But this cowardice stands in stark contrast to the woman who reportedly threw the demands in the trash. To understand why Princess Anne despises this Hyatt ultimatum, you have to go back to 1974. While Meghan demands bulletproof glass to protect her from booing, Princess Anne once faced a real gunman with nothing but her wit. When a kidnapper named Ian Ball blocked her car on the Mall, shot her bodyguard, and pointed a gun at her chest, demanding she get out of the car, Anne didn't cry for a fortress. She didn't demand a safe space. She looked the gunman in the eye and delivered the most legendary line in royal history. Not bloody likely. She refused to move. She refused to be a victim. That is the difference between a royal and a celebrity. One faces a gun with courage. The other hides from a booing crowd behind a wall of impossible demands. Anne knows that true safety doesn't come from locking down a hotel. It comes from earning the respect of the people. And by setting this trap, Meghan has proven she has neither. Meghan Markle is betting that the palace will crumble under the pressure of being called unsafe. She believes that by throwing a tantrum about bulletproof glass, the royal family will be forced to concede just to avoid a PR nightmare. But she made a catastrophic miscalculation. She forgot that she is not dealing with the patient late Queen, nor merely a soft-hearted King Charles. She is dealing with the gold stick in waiting. For those who don't know, this is not just a fancy ceremonial title. The gold stick is a position of immense historical weight, dating back to the Tudor times. It designates the person entrusted with the personal safety of the sovereign. And who holds that role today? The Princess Royal, Anne. While King Charles manages the diplomacy, Anne manages the discipline. And sources suggest that Anne has used this precise authority to veto Meghan's demands, drawing a line that William himself is reportedly backing with full force. Why is Anne so adamant? Because she understands the Trojan horse hidden inside this hotel demand. Let's analyze the danger that Anne sees. If the palace agrees to Meghan's demands, if they give her the bulletproof protection, the official police escorts, and the fortress lockdown, they are essentially granting her the status of an internationally protected person, IPP. This is the golden ticket that Meghan desperately craves. Here is the terrifying reality. With IPP status, Harry and Meghan would no longer be just celebrities. They would be state-sponsored diplomats. They could travel anywhere in the world. New York, Colombia, Nigeria, maybe even fashion weeks in Paris, and bill the British taxpayer for their security. They could play royal on the global stage, shaking hands with dignitaries and pretending to represent the crown, all while profiting for themselves. It would be a fake monarchy funded by real public money. Anne sees this threat clearly. She knows that a victory for Harry would mean he had partly achieved what he and Meghan always wanted, to be half-in, half-out royals. They want the major perk of automatic taxpayer-funded protection, but none of the obligations of public service. Princess Anne, who is the embodiment of the late Queen's mantra, "You cannot be half-in and half-out," refused to let this happen. Using her influence as the guardian of royal protocol, she reportedly declared that the Invictus Games, while noble, is a private event, not a state occasion. Therefore, the Duchess is a private citizen, and private citizens do not get the Metropolitan Police to shut down commercial hotels for their ego. The verdict attributed to Anne is chilling in its simplicity. No duties, no security. This is the gold stick veto. It strips away the glamour of their victimhood and exposes the reality. They are two wealthy celebrities who made a choice to leave. And choices have consequences. One of those consequences is that you book your own hotel, you hire your own bodyguards, and you wait in traffic like everyone else. You cannot trash the family on Netflix, sell secrets to Oprah, and then expect a fleet of police cars to escort you to a luxury suite. Anne's stance is reportedly absolute. She understands that giving in to a bully only invites more bullying. As the commentary noted, someone with this mindset is going to make your life miserable if you give them an inch. Meghan wants a mile. Princess Anne refuses to give her a millimeter. By denying the security, Anne has effectively dismantled the rival court before it could even be built. She has told the world, there is only one monarchy, and it is not for rent. This rejection does more than just hurt Meghan's feelings. It destroys her business model, because without that official royal security detail, Meghan cannot project the image of power she needs to sell her brand. She is no longer Her Royal Highness in a motorcade. She is just a tourist in an SUV. And that shift in perception is fatal. We are now witnessing the financial consequences of Anne's veto. The gold stick didn't just block a hotel room, she blocked the flow of credibility. And now, Meghan is left to face the financial reality of a brand that is running on empty. If Princess Anne's refusal was a blow to Meghan's ego, it was a death sentence for her bank account. We have arrived at the brutal reality of the dying brand. Many people are asking, why is Meghan Markle so desperate to return to a country she claims to hate? Why submit a list of diva demands for a security fortress just to attend a sporting event? The answer is not nostalgia. It is survival. As Sarah Vine brutally but accurately noted, the clock has struck midnight for the Duchess of Sussex. The royal fairy dust is finally wearing off, and the lavish bandwagon she's been riding high on is finally turning back into a pumpkin. For 6 years, Meghan has traded on her connection to the Windsors. She sold family secrets to Oprah. She sold a reality show to Netflix. She sold a memoir via Harry. But now, the inventory is empty. She has nothing left to sell. And Hollywood, a town that smells desperation like a shark smells blood, has turned its back on her. Her podcast was cancelled. Her Spotify deal was axed. And her grand launch of American Riviera Orchard, the lifestyle brand that was supposed to make her a billionaire, has been met with a deafening silence. Let's be honest, no one in America wants to buy strawberry jam from a middle-aged minor actress from Suits. They want to buy exclusivity from a royal duchess. Without the connection to King Charles and the visible approval of the palace, Meghan Markle is just another influencer in Montecito trying to hawk kitchenware. This is where Princess Anne's gold stick veto becomes a financial catastrophe. Meghan needs to re-up on that magic. She needs a new photo op. She needs to be seen standing on British soil, surrounded by metropolitan police, being treated like royalty. She needs that image to remind the world, and her investors, that she is still important. Without her royal connections and victim-survivor narrative, the Duchess is just another middle-aged minor actress with a lifestyle brand to flog. She was banking on this UK return to be the commercial reboot of her life. She likely envisioned a triumphant tour, flashing cameras, cheering crowds, managed by security, and headlines that would boost her brand's value. Instead, she is launching leather bookmarks made by a small English company, a pathetic attempt to cling to some semblance of British heritage while sitting 5,000 miles away. It is a dud, a complete failure. Insiders suggest that Meghan knows her American dream is turning into a nightmare. She knows she cannot make money or have the life that she envisioned for herself staying in California. She needs proximity to the UK to stay relevant, but Princess Anne has effectively cut off that supply chain. By refusing to give her the IPP status and the fortress security, the palace has effectively demonetized her. They have told the world, she is not one of us. Do not buy what she is selling. The tragedy for Meghan is that she burned the very bridge she now desperately needs to cross to survive. She insulted the customers, the British public, and sued the management, the palace. And now, as her brand dies a slow, public death, she is left with a warehouse full of jam and a calendar full of empty dates. She is plotting. She is scheming. Meghan is plotting something, trying to go get some more fairy dust. But with the Hyatt ultimatum in the trash, her plot has failed. She is trapped in the gilded cage of Montecito, watching her relevance fade with every passing day. Princess Anne didn't just say no to a hotel room. She said no to the entire business model of monetizing the monarchy. And that brings us to the final, inevitable conclusion. With no way back to the UK and no future in Hollywood, what happens when the exile becomes permanent? The verdict is in. As the heavy doors of the palace symbolically swing shut on these diva demands, we are left with a profound lesson that extends far beyond the royal family. Meghan Markle's list, the bulletproof glass, the hotel lockdown, the demand for titles, is not just a PR disaster. It is a masterclass in hubris. This story teaches us a fundamental truth about life. You cannot demand respect. You have to earn it. Meghan tried to negotiate with an institution that has stood for 1,000 years, thinking she could dictate terms based on her celebrity status. But she forgot the golden rule of leadership. You cannot have the privileges of the crown without the burden of the duty. You cannot be half in for the glamour and half out for the Netflix money. It is, in many ways, a tragedy of her own making. She had the platform to change the world, but she traded it for a rival court that exists only in her imagination. Now, instead of a royal welcome, she faces the cold reality that the bridge she burned is the only one that could have saved her. Now, the final verdict belongs to you, the jury of public opinion. Do you stand with Princess Anne's tough love approach? Or do you think the palace is being too harsh? I want to hear your voice. Type Team Anne if you believe in duty before ego. Type Team Meghan if you think she deserves security. And should King Charles take the final step and strip the titles? Let me know below. If you appreciate uncensored truth and believe that legacy is built on service, not demands, please smash that like button. It helps us fight the algorithm. Subscribe to Legacy's Edge and ring the bell. We will be here to report on the next chapter, because the truth is the only legacy worth protecting. I'm Man, and I'll see you in the next video.